You're not lost. There's just too much noise out there. Have you ever felt like you're drifting without direction? As if everyone else seems to know where they're going, while you're standing still, paralyzed by uncertainty? That heavy silence inside you can easily be mistaken for being lost. But what if I told you that it's not about being lost at all, it's about being surrounded by too much noise? Noise doesn't always come in the form of loud sounds. Sometimes, the noisiest things are silent, expectations, comparisons, the endless flow of advice that doesn't belong to you, the constant scrolling through other people's lives. Noise is not just what you hear, it's what distracts you, what pulls you away from your own inner voice. And when the outside world becomes too loud, your own truth feels like it disappears. This episode is not about finding a map or a set of instructions for life. It's about understanding why you feel disconnected and how to create enough silence to hear yourself again. You are not broken. You are not falling behind. You are not lost. You are simply in the middle of a storm of voices that don't belong to you. And if you pause long enough, you'll realize your direction has always been there, waiting beneath the noise. Think about the way we grow up. From an early age, we're told what success should look like. Go to school, get good grades, build a career, find a partner, buy a house, achieve stability. These milestones are presented as a straight path, and if you deviate, the world makes you believe you're lost. But that path is just one story among millions, and it was never designed to fit everyone. The pressure to keep up with this narrative creates a subtle but constant noise. Every time you scroll through social media and see someone further ahead, that's noise. Every time someone asks you when you're going to achieve something they expect, that's noise. Every time you feel guilty for resting while others seem productive, that's noise too. It's not that you don't know who you are or where you're going. It's that the voices of others have become so loud, you can't hear the quiet certainty within yourself. There's a metaphor I like to use. Imagine yourself standing in a forest. There's a small path right in front of you, but around you, there are people shouting directions. One says, "Go left." Another insists, "Go right." Others point forward or backward. Their voices are loud, urgent, and confident. In the middle of all that chaos, the little path you saw at first becomes blurry, almost invisible. You stand still, overwhelmed, convinced you're lost. But here's the truth, you're still standing on the path. The ground beneath you hasn't disappeared. You just stopped trusting your own sight because the noise around you became unbearable. So the question isn't, how do I stop being lost? The question is, how do I quiet the noise long enough to trust myself again? Quieting the noise doesn't mean isolating yourself from the world forever. It means choosing what you allow in, and what you let pass by without holding on to it. It means asking yourself, whose voice is this? Is it mine, or is it something I absorbed without noticing? Sometimes the hardest part is realizing how many of our decisions are shaped by other people's expectations. The career we chose, the relationships we stay in, the goals we chase, how many of those came from our true self, and how many were planted in us by noise? One of the simplest, yet most powerful practices is learning to pause before reacting. Before saying yes, before agreeing, before rushing forward, just pause. Silence, even for a few seconds, creates enough space for your own voice to emerge. And that voice often whispers things we've been ignoring for years. Of course, silence is uncomfortable. That's why most people avoid it. When you quiet the noise, what rises first are the feelings you've been suppressing: sadness, disappointment, fear, longing. They surface like echoes in an empty room. And it can feel unbearable at first. That's why we reach for distractions, scrolling, working endlessly, filling every moment with noise, because silence feels like a confrontation. But here's the paradox: silence is not a punishment. It's the beginning of clarity. You can't hear yourself until you allow space for those echoes to pass through. You can't see your own direction until the fog of noise begins to lift. Another reason you feel lost is the illusion of comparison. The world tells you there's a timeline, and if you're not hitting certain milestones by a certain age, you're behind. But time is not a racetrack, it's an open field. You are not behind, you are simply moving at your own rhythm. Comparison is perhaps the loudest noise of all. It makes us blind to our own progress, because we measure our lives with rulers that were never meant for us. And yet, here's the irony: the people you compare yourself to are probably comparing themselves to someone else. Everyone is running from the same noise, trying to prove they're not lost, while secretly feeling exactly like you do. What if the truth is that no one is lost, we're just all drowning in too much noise? So, what can you do when the noise is overwhelming? Start small. Create daily moments of intentional silence. It doesn't have to look like meditation or long hours of solitude. It can be something as simple as walking without your phone, journaling for 10 minutes, or drinking your coffee without distraction. These small acts reclaim your inner space. They remind you that the silence within you is not emptiness, it's a source of direction. Another powerful shift is learning to filter. Not every opinion deserves a place in your mind. Not every piece of advice belongs to you. You can listen, acknowledge, and then let go. Filtering is not about rejecting people, it's about protecting your inner compass. And most importantly, practice self-trust. Because at the end of the day, the feeling of being lost is not about location, it's about trust. Trusting that even if you don't know the next 10 steps, you can take the next one. Trusting that your inner voice is more reliable than the loudest opinion. Trusting that you are not behind, you are exactly where you need to be to take the next step. Let me leave you with a thought. Imagine the noise of the world suddenly fades. No expectations, no comparisons, no rushing timelines. Just you, breathing, with the quiet rhythm of your own heartbeat. Would you still feel lost? Or would you feel free? Because maybe the truth is that you were never lost. You were simply never given enough silence to hear yourself. You don't need to find yourself out there, you need to come back in here. Into the space within you, where clarity has always been waiting. Final reflection. You're not lost. You're not broken. You're not behind. You are a whole person, carrying a direction that belongs only to you. The noise may be loud, but silence is stronger. And in that silence, you will remember, you've always known the way.